You have to go in and make a connection to help.
Mm-hmm.
So often we find, with a friend even, only after years of knowing them can you get through to them and they have that trust. How, as a patient, do they trust someone just coming in to the hospital to see them and provide this care? How do you
Yeah.
build that trust so quickly?
Right. So for those, like for the eating disorder units and all, they have weekly group sessions.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is other conditions, physical conditions, then they are on the ward in the hospital. And I think that's where the training comes in, right? Because you go in, you introduce yourself as a spiritual caregiver, chaplain. I'm Chaplain Sonali, and I'm here to provide emotional and spiritual support.
So you don't go in with I'm the Hindu chaplain,
No,
Sonali. It's
no,
okay. Why is that?
because uh, it does not matter. I am there to serve all patients,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it is not that I'm going there to preach my scriptures. I'm there for empathic listening and providing that pastoral presence.
So
Uh,
empathic listening is a technical term right there. What
right.
does it entail?
Empathic listening would be to listen through not only your eyes, ears, to listen not only through your
Hmm.
ears, but eyes, all the expressions, what is happening in the room, and being fully present because, and, and listening to what the person is saying, and also observing your own thoughts because most of the time there will be intersection of that person's story with your own life story.
Mm-hmm.
It will remind you of something, so you then observe your own thoughts and feelings, and that way you connect. So it is that connection in that emotion is empathic listening. So when a person is suffering, you suffer yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you connect and you understand, and then you enable the person to open up to you.
And if you have a show of emotion,
Hmm.
cry with them, grieve with
Yep.
them, is that encouraged? Is it seen as it's natural? What's the standpoint on that from pastoral care?
So um, it is natural. Uh, and when you say empathy, you have to feel that empathy, right? So it has to be genuine. It
Right.
cannot be a show or an act.
Yeah.
Um, it is it is not frowned upon, but it shouldn't be that you are breaking down in front of the patient.
Hmm.
You don't want to traumatize the patient by breaking down in front. So you definitely need a lot of sadhana on your own to be able to be witness to your pain as well as the pain of the other person.
So do you see a direct correlation between sadhanas that are prescribed and how they help make you that witness and not getting embroiled in what's going on?
Oh,
Like, what are those
absolutely.
direct links that you've found?
So we are going to go deep into Advaita, but um, you know how in our Puranas or histories, it says like Shankar Bhagwan, Dakshinamurti.
Hmm.
He just sat there, and his disciples sat in front of him,
Mauna Vyakya, there's no
right?
speaking
And
even
they got
going
the
on.
knowledge,
Hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that same concept, okay, is what you have to develop through your own sadhana and spiritual practice. That just your presence enables that person to heal. You bring God to that person. So basically, when you are non judgmental, when you are not caught up in your thoughts, your mind is still, right? You become the instrument of God. And when you become instrument of God, then you are not different from that person. And that's where the connection happens. This is actually science. Only Hinduism, Advaita, can actually explain what happens. Most of the chaplains, they do it um, without knowing. It happens because they are in that empathic listening mode. But why it happens is only explained through Advaita Vedanta or our scriptures. So that concept is And this is my belief. Like, if you talk to a CP instructor, I don't think he will say that you have to like do sadhana every day. Like, they may not say that. But I have experienced that, how my own mind, the calmness of my mind, influences my interactions with patient. So this is again your personal, seeking and sadhana that will play into, and you have to have that level of introspection and kind of, we have a way of learning called action, reflection, new action, right? So you have to do that internally as well as when you do the seminars with other peers, is what I would say.
When you see a child who is going through a terminal illness, there's no way to rationally explain what it is. And sometimes that leads to a lack of faith in our own religion, in what it says, that there is a Bhagavan that is looking out for me, that has my best intentions in mind and looking out for everyone. Are there mechanisms and ways to deal with that lack of faith if it dips?
Right, right. Absolutely. So that's called grieving.
Hmm.
So we have to enable, so chaplains also have to enable grieving. That's the main goal. Actually, the way you bring God to the person who is in the hospital is by allowing them to grieve or enabling them to grieve and lament. Because when you grieve, you that healing occurs because of that dynamics that I just explained, right? Because, and in that case, I I feel the firmness in the chaplain's faith has to be there.
Right.
I mean, there we can grieve with the family. We understand what they're going through, but I don't feel that a chaplain would faith would shake. But yes, that person's faith can shake, and that time we have to be understanding that if I were you, then yes, even I would question God at this point, and we have to enable and allow that to happen because that is part of healing.
Mm-hmm. And so have you predominantly dealt with patients who are Hindu and or Indian for the most part in your work?
Actually, no, but I have worked with a lot of Indian patients as well, but not predominantly. I worked in Plano Hospital here at Children's, so obviously I would see Hindu patients of from time to time. So I have met, and I would, and there is a different dynamics because that's where my social uh, religious background comes in play,
Right.
and I can utilize that
Mm-hmm.
in providing care. Um, but there are other times when I'm speaking to, like, 80% of the time I'm speaking to either Christian um, of various denomination. And at that time, the CPE process and my own sadhana and like that kind of enables me to have this session, um, which is called ministry
Mm-hmm.
in the language of CPE.
Mm-hmm.
It unfolds based on that empathic listening presence, and then ending with a general prayer to Almighty God.
Have you seen that our Hindu community has needs that are maybe different from the general population or specific to Hindus? You've seen a rise alarmingly of one kind of help that they need? What's the trends you've seen?
Um, yes, I would say that especially young folks, right? We have seen. I cannot talk a lot, but we have seen all kinds of patients. Cancer patients, eating disorder patients of Hindu origin.
Mm-hmm.
So there is definitely need for chaplaincy or chaplains, Hindu chaplains, because you can connect differently with Hindu patient. It's just because it is.